Welcome to the ancient walled city of Dubrovnik. Enveloped within fortified walls that sit high up on jutting sea cliffs, Dubrovnik has one of the most iconic old towns along the Adriatic coast. Its distinctive red roofs and limestone streets, ornate architecture, and rich history attract over 1 million visitors every year. But with big Hollywood pictures filmed here, it's no wonder it's the most visited city in Croatia. In this video, we'll be venturing around Old Town Dubrovnik and showing you guys some of the best things you can do in this iconic city, along with some fantastic photo locations. From walking along the famed city walls to grabbing a delightful Croatian meal at the marina, Dubrovnik completely blew us away. With stunning Venetian architecture at every turn, merely getting lost in the narrow streets of Old Town had us falling in love with this coastal city. Let's start our day with a beautiful sunrise overlooking Old Town Dubrovnik. Good morning.
We woke up bright and early because we wanted to show you guys some of the best photo spots here in Old Town Dubrovnik. Starting with this beautiful viewpoint, you can see the city walls, the sunrise, the entire old town right there to our backs.
This is Fort Lovrijenac, I believe, and it's actually just outside of the old town because then we can get this amazing view. This St. Lawrence Fort, is what you would call it in an anglicized way, is kind of a steep climb. It's a nice way to get that heart pumping in the morning because of all these little steps to get to this beautiful view.
We spent a lot longer at that viewpoint than we had expected. It's actually a little bit late right now at about 7:45 in the morning. I know for some of you that sounds ridiculously early, but in terms of getting the best photos, it is a little bit late. Right now we're going to head over to the Jesuit Stairs.
Surprisingly, the Jesuit Stairs aren't nearly as close, as busy as we expected them to be. You can see they're pretty empty, and it's only been locals setting up the restaurant patios down below or students making their way through to get to school. But I absolutely love these stairs because not only do you get a beautiful view of the street below, but you can also see this 1725 Church of St. Ignatius and the beautiful plaza from up top. Lastly, for this morning at least, is my personal favorite photo spot. It's right beside Rector's Palace, and it's the widest street in Old Town Dubrovnik. You can see the clock tower right there, and that's the photo spot that we absolutely love. We can also get a view of this beautiful cathedral right behind us.
As we're walking around Old Town Dubrovnik, this has reminded us so much of Venice. The narrow alleyways, the squares with the cathedrals, the outdoor dining. And that's because after the Crusades in the 13th century, this entire area came under Venetian rule. So much of that trickled down. But we traded canals for mountains.
Thanks to Jason's expert research skills, we managed to find ourselves a beautiful place for us to enjoy lunch this afternoon, and it sits right at the port. So we have an amazing view of the marina. The water is just glistening right now, the mountains in the back, the red roofed houses, and we also got the last table that sits right on the edge of the restaurant. It's a stunning place. It's called the Gradska Kavana Arsenal, and we had to start off with a couple of glasses of rosé, because why not? We're on vacation.
So luckily when we got here, they're having a food festival right now. So for 26 euros, you can actually order a 3-course lunch. Super cool. You get an appetizer, main course, and dessert. You have the option between meat and fish. So Lauren got the fish, or I got the meat. The appetizers are already here, and wow, it looks absolutely amazing. So hungry. To burn off some of those calories that we just ate, especially that delicious dessert, we are going to do what is probably the most popular attraction here in Dubrovnik, and that is to walk the city walls.
We're at the top of the city wall and it's so sunny out, so we've got our handy dandy hat and sunglasses on. We started at the Pila Gate entrance, which is one of 3. There's Pila Gate, Croatia Gate, and St. John's Fort. When you're walking along the walls, you can only walk in a counterclockwise direction. It's just one way for everybody, and it's actually 35 euros per person, but it also grants you access to the Fort Lovrijenac that we checked out earlier this morning. I would say allocate about an hour and a half to 2 hours and try to come either at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day like we are, because it's so sunny out. It's pretty much exposed the entire way through.
Right there behind me, you can see Lovrijenac Island. This is actually a really popular day excursion if you guys were interested. It's actually a boat ride that takes you sort of around the island and back to Dubrovnik. It is super short. It only takes about 15 minutes to get there, and it costs, I believe, 15 euros. That's something great to consider for when you're here. Something I actually just realized now is the fact that because you're walking along the walls, all these buildings you see over here, these are actually just people's homes. Can you imagine living right next to the wall and having all of these tourists just walk by your window every single day? It must be a little tough.
Good morning. It's another beautiful day here in Dubrovnik, and yesterday we came to the front of the Rector's Palace, but today we want to go and explore the inside. It's going to be a beautiful walk through the Dalmatian architecture that was built in the 15th century.
Now, hopefully we can film inside, because based on what we've seen of the Dubrovnik museums, where this is part of, there seems to be no filming and no photography allowed. Hopefully we can still use our phones and still show you guys what it looks like on the inside.
It seemed like they didn't care at all that we had a camera, and there were a number of other people carrying cameras throughout the palace as well. Rector's Palace is actually a small museum. It has a ton of different artifacts detailing different periods of Dubrovnik history, so it's really worth checking out, especially with that beautiful architecture. If you can come right at opening time at 9 a.m., it's the best because there's absolutely nobody there, and you can avoid all those cruise ship tours. Right now, because we're trying to escape the crowds, we're gonna actually head to a different viewpoint outside of Old Town Dubrovnik. We're up at the top of Mount Surge, 412 meters above the sea, which you can see behind us. and it's on the edge of the Dinaric Alps and also one of the best viewpoints you can get of Dubrovnik.
Now, there are 3 major ways you can get up here. By far, the most popular is by cable car. Now, we've taken a lot of cable cars while we were in Switzerland, so we decided to go with option number 2, which is by car. You can actually drive yourself right up to the top, or you can take a taxi like we did. Now, there is a third option that you can do, which is you can actually hike from the bottom all the way up to here. Don't worry, I know it looks steep, but because there are a lot of switchbacks built in, it's honestly not too bad. Now, up here, there are a few different adventures that you can actually do. One of them, you can go on a buggy adventure, you can zip line, and I think you can do a sky bike where you're sort of riding in the air. That looks really cool.
As much as we love being at the summit, one of the best viewpoints is actually from the Bosanka viewpoint, and I think it's only about a 15-minute walk downhill from the top of the cable car. So we're gonna walk down and hopefully get an even better view of Dubrovnik. We made it to the Bosanka viewpoint and you can see absolutely everything completely unobstructed. I think this view is actually better than what we saw at the cable car station because you can see Lokrum, you can see Dubrovnik, and even Banja Beach. And that turquoise water looks so magnificent. We're ending our Dubrovnik journey where we started at the Fort Lovrijenac, except this time we made it all the way to the top to get an amazing view of the Adriatic Sea and Old Town Dubrovnik.
Honestly, this city has blown our minds with its beauty, and we cannot wait to visit more parts of Croatia. So catch you guys in the next adventure.
Bye!